Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts. Stella Ioannidou, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you, Jonathan. So nice to join you and your audience in this timely discussion.
It is such a pleasure to be with you. Today, we're going to be talking about the new report out of the Josh Bersin Company titled AI First, Hiring is the New TA Reality or Talent Acquisition Reality. And you're the head researcher on this project. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to sit down with you and explore all of this together. You're joining us from Athens, Greece, and I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah. As we get started, I wanted to share Stella's bio with everybody. Stella is the Senior Director of Research and Global Workforce Intelligence Project Leader at the Josh Bersin Company. In this role, she conducts empirical research on a variety of topics related to the skills economy, talent intelligence, and human capital management solutions. Stella has almost 20 years of experience across several industries, including banking. Prior to joining the Josh Bersin Company, Stella was the HR transformation leader for Deloitte, where she led large-scale human capital management implementations and designed frameworks for talent acquisition and performance management for the public sector. She holds her master's degrees in engineering, information systems management, business management, and lifelong learning. She is a certified project manager, change management practitioner, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, and ICAgile HR professional. And I have to ask Stella, is that 4 separate master's degrees that you have?
It's 4 separate master's degrees indeed, Jonathan, and I'm now in the 3rd year of my PhD in talent intelligence. So when we say lifelong
Wonderful.
learner, we mean it.
Awesome. Lifelong learning is the best. Very, very good. All right. Well, as we dive on in, why don't you give us a little bit of the background behind this report?
Yeah, for sure. The Josh Bersin Company has been studying the talent acquisition space for quite a long time now. We have released a series of research report. Our first definitive guide on talent acquisition, I think it was sometime like 4 or 5 years ago, but we have been actively researching what's going on in the space, not necessarily, let's say, talent acquisition alone and not connected with all the other areas of HR, but a big part of what we're doing with talent acquisition, because we're seeing how it's morphing into something more than a good hiring or a nice ATS, has been a focal point of our research for the last, I want to say personally, for the last 5 years for me.
Mhm.
We have done a variety of both quantitative studies and interviews, and we've published a lot of use cases on what great talent acquisition looks like. So, what are organizations who are great in their industry, who are amazing in terms of their financial performance, in their market leadership, in their talent practices? What sets them apart in terms of how they ensure that they can access the right talent, and how they're actually not just worrying about bringing people in, but also ensuring that they have the right person at the right time for the organization in the right position and empowered in the right way for them to perform. So the talent acquisition revolution, the latest research paper that we just released this week, is a culmination of the major, I dare say, the seismic forces that are reshaping the world of talent acquisition. And I know that everyone and their uncle is talking about artificial intelligence and how AI is disrupting this part, disrupting sales, disrupting L&D, disrupting talent acquisition. I think specifically in the space of talent acquisition, which is one of my focal areas, we're seeing a very big, complete reimagination of what great talent acquisition looks like. As I said, we have been around and capturing stories, and the talent acquisition is always a very rich area to focus on. One, there is a big part of HR technology dedicated to talent acquisition, but also there is amazing interest and great challenges from companies who are in the war to secure the right talent. You mentioned in my bio that I lead our Global Workforce Intelligence Project. This is a series of industry deep studies where we go to an industry and we say, okay, what is the biggest business related challenge of that industry? And how do we solve it with great HR practices and with prioritizing skills and roles to grow and develop? And from all the industries that we've seen so far, and we've done banking, healthcare, insurance, automotive manufacturing, CPG, you know, I mean, we've done a few and they're quite different to one another. One thing was always the common denominator. Everyone was trying to hire their way out of their talent challenges, trying to
Mm,
hire as many people as they could, as fast as they could, bring them in let's say, with offering higher salaries or as high as they could, but still we're seeing most of the organizations challenged by talent acquisition and hiring the right talent at scale.
yeah, super interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Another, and this also brings us to what can you really do? And what do we mean, like bringing in the right talent at scale? Let me give you an example of one of the roles that we studied, which is a role that kind of appears that everyone seems to be needing right now, regardless of the industry. Tech talent. Everyone wants, if you're a tech talent, if you're a specialized tech talent, if you're great at tech and you want a job, you're in most cases sitting with 6 or 7 or 8 different types of offers from companies from a variety of sectors. Because aerospace is hiring technology, banking is hiring tech talent, professional services are hiring tech talent, insurance is hiring tech talent. So all of those people are trying to hire into a specific type of talent pool and trying to compete with one another. How many do we reach out to? How can we make the profiling of candidates better to make sure that we're actually sourcing for the talent that we actually need? How do we make sure that we are personalizing the outreach so that candidates are actually interested and they don't get one canned email that they got the same from, let's say, 6 or 7 other companies or industries? How do we make sure that, especially if we're in a high volume hiring environment and a lot of our frontline workers or organizations who are hiring for that operate under that setup, how do we make sure that we actually automate the screening or that we're actually able to manage the interviews so fast, faster than our competitors to make sure that we're bringing candidates in? And how do we make sure that we're not only targeting correctly and bringing people's attention to us, but we're also bringing them across the finish line and giving them an offer faster and better than our competitors? And you cannot expect to do that in these volumes only by, hiring as many recruiters as you can and putting them across labor intensive processes to expect that you're going to be hiring as fast as you can the more people you put into this. And this is where AI actually is what we've picked up from the market as the defining factor that sets apart those who are great at understanding that talent acquisition is now a precision science. It was always kind of an art to find the
Right.
right talent, but now it's kind of a precision, the right talent at the right time with the right message for the right position in the organization, and to make sure that we're also offering them a right career pathway. So we don't have to hire for the same role every other week because we have a 75% turnover for role X.
Yeah. There's so much there. And really, kind of the flip side of much of the coin that you were just describing in terms of kind of this new environment is kind of how the traditional recruitment process tends to be failing, right? And it fails at scale and it fails at the speed of business because the current labor market is complex enough and so hyper competitive, especially for certain types of talent, especially in STEM and technology and such. And the traditional approaches just aren't personalized enough. They're not fast enough. And so for all those reasons, companies are hyper competitive in terms of trying to streamline these processes and to target the right people fast. And that's why you see, and you also see in the news these insane offers going to people. I mean, different than the average technology person, but like some of these AI battles, between like top AI folks, like they're bigger than like pro athlete contracts, like they're crazy. We're
100%.
talking like $1 billion or like $250 million in some cases. Like
Yeah.
it's nuts, right? And obviously not every organization is going to be doing that, not for every position either, but we're talking hundreds of thousands, $1 million for a lot of these positions. And so you want to make sure that you're identifying the right person, that you're getting the right person in the organization, and that they're going to stick, that they're going to actually stay with the organization. The other piece of this is that we know because there's, you might have 6 to 8 plus offers on the table at any given point in time. Just because my company
Hmm.
wins and I get you, that doesn't mean you're staying, right?
Exactly, exactly. And to your point, Jonathan, we actually run some numbers around this, and the impact of, or let's say the magnitude of how broken traditional talent acquisition is, it's insane. Only a handful of applicants make it to the interview. It's less than 20%. Almost 60% of candidates abandon slow applications. I just don't have time to fill in the 7 pages of your web-based 1990s system that I can do on my mobile phone.
And the
Candidates
fact
are
that you have to do it every single time,
every
right?
single time, right? So for every single, even if I'm interested in applying in 2 roles in the company in different points of time, I still have to submit everything. Or candidates are now ghosting employers. They
Mhm.
are not, they're stopping because in some cases, in some roles, the market is quite open, so they get other opportunities. But in some cases, it's not worth it. It's just too much effort. And at the same time, everyone knows that it's not only companies who are leveraging AI, candidates are now leveraging AI as well, which kind of also creates a big circle of, who is using AI for what and who is not using AI. So are you in the phase of we have everything traditional and we hope that we are attracting people who actually want to go through our rigorous talent acquisition process, or are we leveraging AI and ensuring that we have guidelines in place and we understand that the other side may also be using AI? So we actually start having a right conversation instead of this is my CV, this is the job description. Everyone knows the job description is AI generated. Everyone knows that the CV may also be AI generated. So let's talk about skills and capabilities and attitudes and the right profile. And are you really a great match for the company? And in organizations who've actually approached this differently and said, listen, let's have an honest conversation. Let's have AI automate the mundane. Let's make sure that we're scheduling interviews as fast as we can. And we automate those labor intensive parts of the experience that are not actually saying anything about our culture or what we're looking for. And we're prioritizing instead the moments that matter, that give the human essence in the entire talent acquisition experience. And organizations who have done this, and we've interviewed and written about, and we have case studies, and we will also be doing a big refresher of our definitive guide in talent analytics. It will be released in the new year with even more examples of companies who are great at this. We're talking about not only efficiency gains, 75% faster from processes that took 6 to 8 weeks into 3 to 4 days from application to interview, or improvement in the quality of the talent that we're sourcing. Oh, we're actually able, because we're not prioritizing, oh, let's put in your CV and let's have someone check that out and let's hope that in an interview we'll demystify more about you. And we're actually using assessments, we're actually using other tools, we're actually pre-screening a lot more. We're actually attracting the talent that we need. in the organization. So it's not just a talk about AI helping with sourcing. It's about the entire transformation of the talent management or the talent development life cycle. For example, some of the, let's say, go-to approaches of highly successful organizations in this regard. How do we design the job profile? Traditionally, we go to the hiring manager and we say, hello, hiring manager, what is the profile you're hiring for? And they would look at their team and they say, oh, I need another John. So what does John know currently? So John, fictitious name, ABC, skills or some of the things they do. So bring me another John, right? Typically, this is the type of discussion. If the recruiter is a little bit more advanced, they might ask about, okay, is John's, let's say, profile enough for today, or do we need to make any additions for the future? But this is a little bit on the, it might happen, it might not happen. We don't really know. It depends on, let's say, how advanced a recruiter is. And then we would go and try to pull together a job description and push it like a marketing contest as much as we can to reach as many people as we can in a variety of platforms. It's literally an advertising campaign
Yeah.
to make sure that we're bringing in the right talent. So we're practically marketeers, right? Selling the job posting. And then we're gathering some profiles or some CVs, and then someone has to go through them. In some cases, maybe we have some form of automation or some initial screening questions like, are you legal? Do you have a visa? Do you have what it takes? So some things that are very typical, let's say, the bare minimum. Or we might even have an assessment, something that, for example, in the tech industry, they've been doing for a very, very, very long time. They've been having, before we even talk to you, take that SQL test, take that Python test, make sure that, you have the core, let's say, skills that I need for the job. And then we would try to see as many people as we can, try to schedule as many interviews as we can, play the Sudoku, trying to find what time the hiring manager and the candidate and the recruiter and anyone else could be together in an interview. And it would take us months. Let's face it, it would take us weeks. It would take us approximately 60 to 90 days is the market average. And we think that, this was the status quo for a very long time. What we are seeing companies who are amazing at this complete transformation of the talent lifecycle do better. One, they don't just take the hiring manager's word for it. They're actually going into the labor market. They go into insights, they go into platforms that say, okay, what type of profile, what does that profile look like typically? Or there are even platforms that you can say, I need this type of skills and these types of requirements. And it can tell you, okay, with those requirements, there are 3 people in the world that match that profile, right? So you can actually have a different discussion as a recruiter with a hiring manager. Say, okay, you know what? Maybe we need to let go of the 70 different requirements, and maybe we need to focus on these 5, 6 that are core and pivotal, not just for today, but because these are rising skills, it might serve the organization. So in the future. So the profiling benchmarks against labor market realities, and that happens on the fly as we're having that discussion on what type of talent we need. The second thing is the outreach, which is hyper personalized. It's not just, I saw your profile and I thought that you would be a great candidate. It's about, hello, Stella. I saw your recent post about XYZ skill. This is a core interest to our company. Who's looking to hire a profile like yourself for A, B, C, D. Tailoring communication so that if someone has 70 different emails, they might prioritize the one that has your name and a couple of things on about your interest and your contribution. It sounds like a more interesting type of offering, quite frankly. The other thing that we've seen great companies who are great at this approach do is that they actually allow the AI to do most of the mundane initial conversation. For example, do you have a visa, or do you have a work permit to work in the United States? Do you speak English? or what is your preferred language to conduct the interview. Some things that you would still ask if you were like the recruiter and you're handling operations, you would still do that. But now we're seeing that type of conversations getting done by AI, including assessments being done at the same time, even from the way that we're conversing, but also giving you assessments. You know what? Yeah, as we say, are you interested in applying to that role? Let me apply for you. Would you like to? Let's take this assessment because this is, let's say, something important for that role. Would you mind spending 3 minutes and I can let you know about the next steps? So we talked to a lot of companies who are actually working with these types of AI powered tools that a lot of candidates actually currently can't tell in some cases if they're talking to a person or if they're talking to an AI agent. And many of them who get hired actually want to, I want to, can I talk to Olivia, who had been supporting me throughout this experience? Like, thank you for granting me the job. And Olivia is the AI powered assistant.
Can
And
I
the
can I
other,
ask,
yeah,
one of the critiques of
yeah,
leveraging AI in the talent acquisition process is just the extension of bias, right? So these models are trained on your current data, your current the people in your organization. Like you said, we want another John, we want another whatever, and so you map it back to what you have, and you end up the potential is you can just perpetuate bias and continue it along when you have AI screening based off of that kind of data. What are you seeing, in terms of the best organizations, what they're doing to mitigate that challenge?
yeah. And it's the older story in the book,
Yeah.
right? I think one of the first applications that I don't want to name names, but we all know the story of that tech company who actually was the first to implement their own AI powered ADS. And they were perpetuating hiring for the same type of talent for their tech organization as they already had specific race, a specific age, a specific type. So everything very specific. What we've seen is currently, and because the pace of change with AI development and what AI can and cannot do, or what we understand AI to be able to do or not, is shifting even as we speak.
Yeah.
The pace is frenetic. We can't keep up. Organizations who are riding that wave understand a couple of things. One, that any AI you apply is only as good as the data is being fed. You feed it not enough with not enough data or not good enough data or not trustworthy data, you're not going to be able to trust the recommendation that you get out of it. So a lot of organizations are, let's say, making sure that they are moderating the use of AI in cases that they can control what's going on. For example, even in specific automating specific steps, instead of me having to upload my papers in a server or email them to you or send you my CV, you talk to an AI assistant and they gather that for you and they make sure that, okay, I needed 5 documents. One about a CV, maybe I needed a cover letter, maybe I needed a visa or whatever. Do I have them? If I don't have them, I might go back and say, listen, that documentation is missing. Can you please provide? So the lower risk type of tasks. Scheduling interviews is a great example because you can't really go wrong with scheduling interviews. It kind of connects calendars together and finds a mutually available date, right? You're not necessarily asking for the AI assistant to tell you if that is a good candidate, but you do trust the AI assistant, for example, to deliver the assessment, which is a third-party assessment that you trust. You trust the AI agent to schedule the interview, send an email, say, Stella, congratulations. Your interview with your hiring manager is Monday, 9 a.m., headquarters there, and here's the address. A lot of organizations that we talk to are feeding these agents with their employee handbooks to make sure that they're not just making things up. They're responding based on, let's say, what the actual recruiter would tell you if you ask that question.
Hmm.
So they're making a very, let's say, deliberate approach of putting AI where we have a low risk, high volume type of task. We're not allowing the AI to determine if Stella is a good fit or not. We're still simplifying the entire process, but still keeping the moments that matter for the human experience. Meeting your hiring manager for an in-person interview, bringing, let's say, onboarding on the first day, or having your orientation session. You're not allowing the AI to take care of those types of experiences. But all the rest, measuring, or let's say responding to my question about my PTO allowance, or how many days remotely does the organization offer, or what is the
Mhm.
policy for educational leave, or what is the policy for learning and development budget, right? These types of questions and answers. And by the way, AI can do that 24/7. You don't need to wait for the recruiter to wake up, and that also supports global populations. And that's what a lot of organizations have told us, that even that always on that AI has to respond with the responses that we have provided. Not, they're not hallucinating, they're not making things up. We have
Yeah.
provided the responses, but even making those available in a variety of languages, in a variety of time zones, significantly increased the volumes of the outreach in a way that no marketing campaign or ad campaign could ever aspire to. And that's why
And
it's making the pie larger, right?
yeah, and I'll add, if you do it well, so you can make the pie larger, right? That if we use the funnel analogy, right? Like make the funnel as wide as possible, get it as many good people in. What I've seen is a lot of organizations, have found ways to open the funnel up, right? And get more applicants, but then they're bombarded, right? And then but they don't have processes on the other side. And so then they have hundreds, maybe thousands of applicants. They don't know what to do with it. And so then they just come up with arbitrary filters to like weed through those people so they get down to a manageable level, and just think about all the good talent they're missing, because they don't actually have a systematized way to go about doing that. And so opening up, to get a bigger pool, and that's awesome. But then you have to have a way to handle it, right? And if you don't have speed in response, then especially the top talent, they have options. They can go lots of places, and they're not going to be waiting around, for days or weeks to hear back from you or to move on to the next level interview or things like that.
Exactly. And this is why having or relying in a fragmented ATS or type of technology with manual workflows can compete, because the more volume you bring in, the more you actually have to make sure that you can support that. If I have 10,000 candidates, I need a system in place. And I mean that in let's say the combined approach of technology, process, and the right type of people to accommodate that. Because if I can't accommodate that, then I'm not gaining anything. And that's what we're seeing, that there's a big shift in the type of tech stack. It's integrated. It's an intelligent ecosystem. It's not, I have an ATS and I have another system to manage my marketing outreach and my funnel, and then I have another for CRM communication with candidates. It kind of has to be integrated seamlessly. And a lot of
And
organizations want to actually maintain active pools of candidates, even from the people that they're not hiring, right? So
exactly. So you also have to be able to know if you have those, 10,000 or 1,000 or 500 applicants, obviously you're not hiring all those people, but there may be very good people, good talent that might be great for the next position or an adjacent position or whatever. And so having a system in place where you can identify those folks and ping them for these other opportunities, that's also, if you're spending lots of time and energy, money, resources to like market these positions and create, an employer brand for your organization, you might as well leverage it, right?
exactly. And we're seeing some amazing results. I mean, for example, 90% automation of the entire process, keeping all the moments that matter with the human connection. In a big enterprise resort company that we spoke to, that meant a 400% increase in scheduled interviews, 85% less drop off from candidates. They actually came through. Another organization in the CPG industry saw a 600% conversion of outreach to interviews with only 20 recruiters managing 1,000 positions at the same time. That does not just mean scaling is big volumes. It also changes the whole ecosystem and how it works. And predominantly, it changes the role of the recruiter. So the
Hmm.
recruiter is not just a person who, let's say, manages a process. They do a lot of steps, they have a lot of operational support, and they do the operational type of tasks. Call someone, email this, do that, schedule this, talk to the hiring manager. They still do a lot of the communication. But in the new era that we are actually witnessing now, they're more about making sure that the agents, wherever they are used, are orchestrated and they're seamlessly performing. And we're still putting our AI emphasis on the low risk, high
Right.
impact areas. And me, as the recruiter, can actually serve as the organization's expert talent advisor. The type of person that you would sit down and have the discussion instead of saying, I need another Stella, or I need another John, or I need another whatever. What type of talent needs do you think that you're going to be needing for your goals to be, or for you to achieve your goals, or for the organization to be successful? What are we missing right now? What type of skills do we need to build? Do we need to hire for every skill? Or maybe that skill can be found elsewhere in the organization, and we can actually, instead of going out to hire for that, we can leverage internal mobility
Right.
and see how it helps us cover for that need faster and in a better, let's say, impact to ratio. So
Yeah.
this is where the recruiter is heading. It's not only about go fetch me another XYZ role. It's an expert talent advisor, data informed, going into the labor market insights. Okay, there is demand for that role, and also having the conversation, do we buy that talent externally, or can we find it within the organization? That's a very big shift in a lot of organizations who think that, the more recruiters, the merrier. Volume is king, but also people and taking care of talent acquisition operations is what will help us attract more talent. Well, apologies to those who believe that this is still true, but in the era of AI is outpacing everyone because they're taking the noise out of the mundane and the operational stuff and putting the emphasis where it matters.
Yeah, yeah. I love this, Stella. This has just been a great conversation. I know we've only really scratched the surface of the findings in this report. Gratefully, though, the report is there and anyone can go grab it and take a look and explore. Stella, as we start to wrap things up, I just wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about the Josh Bersin Company, where they can find the report, and then give us the final word for today.
Of course, happy to. Now, if I was to summarize, let's say, what we found, and we will continue this conversation. As I said, we're actively researching the area, and more reports are to follow, including our updated definitive guide to talent acquisition. What I wanted to say is that organizations currently have, let's say, two choices. Either lead the transformation of their talent acquisition lifecycle or get disrupted by it. The more you wait for that first pilot or for that first, let's say, test, and kind of like test the waters of what AI can do for talent acquisition, the further away you're, kind of being left behind in the war for talent right now. Now, in terms of the Josh Bersin Company and our work, the Josh Bersin Company is the world's most trusted HR advisor. I don't think we need any specific, let's say, explanation of who we are. But I am happy to say that this report is made available not only to our Galileo users and our Galileo Learn users, but also to the broad public. And you'll find a link on the description of this podcast for you to access this. This is like so fresh. We just released it this week. We'll be so happy to hear from you. Any comments, you can find me on LinkedIn, that weird Greek surname that sounds all Greek to you. You'll find me, no doubt, and I'll be happy to continue the conversation. We're just scratching the surface on what's going on, quite frankly.
Yes, absolutely. Stella, thank you so much. Wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day, now getting into the evening for you there in Athens. By the way, I love your cat that I've seen in the background playing in the blinds and such. Super cute. Anyways, it's just been
Thank
a
you.
real pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, to get connected, find out more about what Stella can do for you. Check out the Josh Bersin Company, check out the report. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.